Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be canning some deer meat. Joe hit a deer a few days ago. It popped right up out of the ditch by the guardrail at night, and there was no avoiding it, so I'm going to make the best of it. We got some the bloodshot stuff we saved for the dogs again, and I'm going to can up. We saved some steak, and pretty much the rest of it I'm going to can. So I like having the canned deer meat because you can put it on mashed potatoes, you could put it on crackers, bread, toast, baked potatoes. You could take like a quart of it or a couple pint jars and dump it in a pie crust with some veggies and make like a pot pie. Put it in stew. You can use it for a whole bunch of stuff. So it's pretty versatile, and I like the fact that you can just grab it right off the shelf, pop the lid off, and do something with it instead of waiting for it to thaw out like you would if you froze it. So don't forget, you're going to need your tools, your funnel, your jar lifter, and this lid lifter. I like this. Sometimes if I can't find this, I just use a fork and that works, but it gets a little hot on the digits. And then for my canner, I'm going to be using the little weight that I got. I explained this in a previous video. I'll link down below. But this just changes your dial gauge canner into just like the weighted jiggler one. I like using this because I'm used to it, because that's how I learned how to can, was with the jiggler one, and I prefer to have this on there because I can hear it, and I know when like I gotta turn the heat down or if I gotta turn it back up, and I don't feel like I have to sit right there and stare at the gauge and freak out if I like gotta leave the room and worry about it blowing up. Alright, so this is how I do it. So you want to just follow the directions in your canning book. I'm going to use Himalayan salt. It's not recommended that you use Himalayan salt because the minerals in the salt could potentially cause whatever it is that you're canning to get a little cloudy. And cloudiness is one of the ways that you can detect if you have a bad seal or if something isn't quite right and your food is not edible. So that's why that's not recommended, but I haven't had any issues using it so far. But like I said, follow the directions in your canning book. Alright, so to start, you're going to want, I'm going to do the raw pack method. And I have my jar sitting in hot water in my sink. A lot of people, they would put them in their dishwasher and keep them hot that way. I don't have a dishwasher, so I just do it that way. Another way you could do it is put your jars either in on a cookie sheet or right on the rack in your oven and turn it on 200. Keep it hot that way. So you just want everything nice and hot. So let's get into it. Alright, I got my little helper. Little sweetie, she's gonna help us out. Alright, sweetie. Can you help put the meat in the jar? We just have the meat all cubed up. Yep, just grab a big handful. I know it's slimy, but it's okay. Put that in there. Push it down. It's okay. Does it bother you? She's picking this up one piece at a time and putting it in. Okay, that might be a little too much.
That's a big bird, Bubba.
Yes. You want to leave 1-inch headspace in your jar. You can put a little more in there. Here, put a couple more pieces in, honey. Nope, not too much. Not a big handful. There you go. Alright. Pack that down. We're going to fill our jars first, and then we'll move on to the next step.
Since I press them, both of them stick together well.
Okay, sweetie and I got the jars all filled. You want to leave 1-inch headspace And since I'm using pints, I'm going to put half a teaspoon of salt in each jar. 1 teaspoon if you're doing quarts. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're going to want to make sure it's a flat measure, okay? You don't want too much, and you don't want too little. There you go. That's good. Just 1 scoop per jar, okay? Good job. Alright, we got our salt on here. I'm not going to add any water to these because it's pretty juicy, and as it cans, it's going to the juices are going to come out of the meat, and it's going to make like its own gravy. Now because I'm canning something that's got fat in it, I'm going to wipe the rim of the jars with a little bit of apple cider vinegar on this paper towel in case there's any grease from the meat that ended up on the lip of it. That'll just cut right through that grease. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put these lids on. They've been simmering on the stove, keeping good and hot. I'm just going to tighten these bands just fingertip tight. Alright, I got my jars in here. Now I'm just going to add a few inches of water. Unlike a water bath, you don't want to cover your jars with water when you pressure canning. Just got a few inches of water in there. I don't know if you can see down there. You don't want to put too little water in either because you got to let the canner vent. You got to let it steam for 10 minutes before you add the weight on. So you don't want all your water to evaporate before you even get started. Okay. So I am just going to let that heat up for now, and after it steams for 10 minutes I will get back to you. Okay, the canner has been venting for 10 minutes now. I'm going to put this weight on, 10 pounds, and once that starts jiggling and doing its thing, I'm going to set a timer for 75 minutes for pints. If you're doing quarts, you would want to do 90 minutes. Alright, well, see what happens when it's done. Our canning weight has been doing its little hula dance jiggling there for 75 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this off now. And we're going to let the canner cool down all by itself. You don't want to try to open it at this point because it will blow up in your face. Well, it's the next morning and all of our jars sealed. Made nice little gravy in there. So you want to let these sit for at least 12 hours, and then you can take the bands off, label them, and store them in a cool, dark place. Some people leave the bands on. It's a good idea to take them off because they'll last longer. They're not going to rust as easily, and you won't end up with a false seal. So if for some reason one of these jars, the seal isn't very good and it pops open later, sometimes if you have a band on there, it can cause that to suction back down with the temperature fluctuations. And so then you'll go to open one, it'll look like it's sealed, but actually it had been unsealed and could cause all kinds of problems. So, alright, well, thanks for hanging out with me today on this one, and we'll catch you on the next one.